Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of Way of the Samurai. Oh, God.
Take 2.
Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of Way of the Samurai, the video podcast to help online business owners like you master your marketing. In today's episode, we'll be talking with our copywriting team about the importance of copywriting, sales, and how to use the science of influence to boost your online profits. We'll also cover some of the latest feature updates for the Noble Samurai line of products in our Newsdesk segment, and we'll answer your most pressing questions about SEO and online marketing in our Ask the Samurai Q&A segment. We're really excited about this show. We've got a ton of ideas for the show, but we really would love your feedback about what you liked, what you didn't like, and any great ideas about content or questions about online marketing that you'd like to see answered. Just shoot us an email at support@noblesamurai.com with your feedback. We're also broadcasting the show live on the web, and if you're watching live, please... Let me just turn this audio off. Oh, this is horrible. Okay, and as we said, we are also broadcasting the show live on the web, so if you're watching live, please feel free to ask questions in our live chat room, which you should see below this video. And as we're still getting to the top of all this technology required to put a show like this together, and believe me, there's a lot, please forgive us if there are any technical difficulties or hiccups along the way. We hope you love this show, so let's get started. And this is where we go to slides. What you liked, what you didn't like, and any great ideas about content or questions about online marketing that you'd like to see answered. Just shoot us an email at support.
You've got the podcast playing another window.
Okay, yeah, just...
Yes.
Please just wait. Oh, we are professionals here.
Totally professionals.
All right. We're good? All right. Okay, so welcome to the very very first episode of the conversion factor, and this segment is all about talking about sales and marketing and how to improve and boost the levels of your sales on your website. So. Today we're actually going to talk a little bit about the importance of copywriting, why it's important to your website, why it's probably the number one undervalued skill out there in online marketing, and we're going to be covering off some of the what we call the factors of influence. So let's kick it off. So, copywriting. Why is it the number one skill?
It's really because it infiltrates absolutely everything you do. So pretty much, if you're trying to communicate something to your list, let's say you wanted to do something, you want your customers to buy something, you want them to read an email, you want them to leave a comment on your website, basically anything that you want your customers to do, you need to effectively communicate to them, and that's basically what we're talking about. We're talking about the written form of that communication. So copywriting really, it's in everything you do. It's important when somebody comes to your website and you want them to read it, you want them to watch a video, you want them to do something. Marketing and copywriting is so deeply ingrained in absolutely all of that. So it's really important that if you're trying to achieve something in your business, you're trying to get your customers to do something, you're trying to help them, that you really need to understand how marketing works and how copywriting works. And there are basically so there's a lot around this. It's a very, very deep subject, and it goes. It takes quite a while to become familiar with and to be able to do it well. But it can actually be broken down into 6 main categories, which are commonly referred to as the 6 factors of influence. So do you want to give us a brief...
We'll cover that off in a bit of a second. In terms of copywriting, there's just a misconception, I think, that copywriting is only only useful for, say, sales pages, for example. Whereas I think, as you kind of mentioned, copywriting is important for every single step in running a business, in every single step in online marketing, and particularly for traffic. So a lot of traffic generation boils down to writing ads in AdWords or Facebook or ads on other sites. There's copywriting involved in opt-in pages. There's even an SEO. SEO is kind of considered to be I don't need to know copywriting. I'm a professional SEO person, but SEO is more and more becoming content marketing.
I think there's also another important point to make around copywriting is that most people's perception of copywriting is that, for example, a journalist would write copy for a newspaper, but it's got a very, very different purpose to what we're trying to achieve in online marketing. So, copywriters for magazines, for example, a lot of the articles and stuff, you would consider that to be copy, but it's not. The sort of copy that we're talking about is for the purpose of encouraging action. So people to actually do things. It's not just copy and words to sort of entertain people so much. It's actually trying to get them to take action and move forward to achieve an outcome. So, it's to buy a product and then get the result from that product. It's to read an email and then go and learn something from a blog post. It's about really copywriting from the perspective of trying to encourage people and communicate to people to actually take action.
That's right. And with particularly even say for SEO. Now, SEO it's traditionally been about sort of beating Google's algorithm but now it's really transforming into SEO is more about marketing. It's about content marketing. It's about putting out really great content. And people think, well, what does content have to do with sales and marketing? Well, if your content is not compelling, then people won't read it. And if there isn't a call to action in your content, then people won't do anything.
Exactly right.
So even here with our training videos, we kind of look at our training and the content that we create almost like as a mini sales letter. We need to work out how do we get people's interest and attention, how do we connect them with the problem that this particular content is trying to solve, and then what do we want people to do after they've watched that content?
Yeah, I mean, SEO is moving much more towards marketing, and beneath marketing, the very broad spectrum of marketing is copywriting. Copywriting is really the work that you do in the trenches to do effective marketing. And as SEO is moving towards that, copywriting really is the master skill, which you really need to have. And you don't have to be a master at it to be effective at it, but it is something that is really, really important to actually being successful online. You really, really can't. It's very, very difficult to be successful without at least understanding the skill, whether or not you're a master at it. And the exciting thing is that there's actually a lot of science which is proving a lot of this stuff now. If you look at a lot of the master copywriters who have kind of all the big companies hire to do their multi-million-dollar ads and all that sort of stuff. The big guys like the late Gary Halbert, John Carlton, Dan Kennedy, these sort of master guys have kind of known this stuff for a long time. They've known what's worked, and they have kind of categorized it into these categories. But what actually in the last sort of 10 to 20 years, there's been a lot of scientific studies which have proven what actually goes on in the brain when these things, these master copywriters actually implement these strategies.
Yeah, and so just taking a look at the slide over here, marketing is, it's considered to be this, it's kind of fluffy thing that you need to be a sleazy salesman, or you need to be an outgoing personality, and the kind of guy that you see, selling used cars, and that puts a lot of people off from doing marketing. And as you said, there's a lot of studies coming out now, a lot of a study of the brain in terms in neuroscience that actually showing what is how we as human beings are wired, how we respond, and this stuff actually backs up 100% the stuff that trusted copywriters have known for for centuries, I guess. And what's really exciting about that is that a person who is not an outgoing personality, who might be more left brain rather than right brain, a bit maybe less creative, can actually do this sales and marketing stuff and be really good at it.
And I mean that's one of the things that we're most excited about, sort of as we're moving into the internet's really just starting to get its legs and it's really starting to grow now, the possibilities of this stuff is really endless, and there's so many different ways that we're learning that we can actually implement this stuff. The book, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, is a really, really great book for actually just getting an understanding of how these particular factors influence us, how we respond to certain factors of influence. So we'll talk about those in just a moment.
So there's this guy Robert Cialdini. So he's a scientist. He conducted a lot of different studies around what makes people do things. You know, how do we influence people? How do we bring people into compliance with our kind of message? And I guess that's actually probably, before we even go into that, we should kind of really say that, you know, there's a perception that sales and marketing is about manipulation. You know, it's about forcing your will upon somebody else, and you know that's absolutely not true. I think a better mindset to have around marketing is that it's actually effective communication, and in the way that if you're going to communicate to a computer, you would use a programming language. That is how you connect, you know, to a computer. When you're talking to a human being, you need to say, well, what is a human being? How is a human being wired? And what is the most effective way to communicate with them?
And a human being is made up of both logical decision-making capabilities as well as emotional decision-making capabilities. And it's really important when you're trying to communicate with someone that you don't just go for the logical side of things, because you're just not going to get through. Like, you know, there are different personalities of people who have, you know, maybe they lean more towards logical sort of decision-making, but everybody in the world has a very, very strong emotional side to them. And if you completely neglect that side of their personality, you'll completely miss the mark.
Yeah, and I think it's, yeah. And even left brain personality people, like we've got a lot of software engineers here in the office, you know, they go, oh, this marketing stuff doesn't work and stuff. And, you know, they tend to be predisposed and biased towards making decisions, you know, logically and objectively. But then, you know, if you see, like in the background, you'll see these little statues and things of different sort of comic characters. And you know, these things cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for some of them. And so so in one area of your life can be very logical about making purchases, and another, you know, there's obviously an emotional connection that allows people to, you know, spend a lot of money on things that they're passionate about.
Yeah, and the important part, or the important point to make is that not everybody is going to be your market. So when you copyright, when you try and communicate, you're trying to communicate with the people who have the problem or the desires that your product or service will solve. So you're not going to get everybody, but in every single market, when you're trying to connect with the people who have that desire or that interest or that pain, that communication is absolutely core, and it's an emotional and a logical equation, basically. And it's really, really important that when you're trying to make that connection, the emotional side of things is so critical, because everybody, even if they are very, very logical, have that emotional side. You just can't escape it. We are human emotional beings.
Yes, as much as I try not to be. So this Cialdini, he went out and he worked out, you know, what are these factors that you can use to influence people, and these are really, really key. I think, you know, every single piece of copy that we write, and I know a lot of master copywriters and marketers out there, they use the same list every single time that you're trying to influence somebody, whether it's through an email or a web page or an opt-in form, going through these 6 factors of influence that Robert Cialdini discovered and applying it, saying how can I introduce each of these factors to the copy that I'm writing, is just a really awesome way to bump up your copy. If something's missing, it's usually you're not applying it. It's missing some of these factors, or you could dial up these factors even more. And so I really think that it's a really excellent book. But we'll just cover those 6 factors really briefly. The plan is sort of over the next few shows that we will go into each of these factors in a bit more detail and make it much more practical.
That's exactly right, because the book Psychology of Persuasion by Cialdini it's a very, very sort of how would you say it? It's a very conceptual book. There's a lot of studies that he did to sort of uncover these particular factors and kind of give some shape and understanding around them. But he wrote the book more from the perception of how to be aware of them as opposed to how to take advantage of them. So it's a very, very important book to read from that perspective, just to sort of understand what they are. But in subsequent episodes, we're going to talk a lot more about the nuts and bolts of how to take advantage of each one, where to use them, how to use them, and how that relates specifically in internet marketing.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go through them. So factor number 1 is authority.
Yep.
What's authority all about?
Authority is basically that when all of these factors are more framed in the from the perspective of compliance, so actually getting somebody to do something, and how these factors all contribute to making that a much more likely event, to kind of stack the cards in your favor, more importantly. And authority talks about basically if you are somebody in a position of authority, like a doctor or a surgeon or somebody like that, and you ask your patient to do something, you are much more, as a patient, you are much more likely to comply and to do what the doctor says because they have the authority. They've got the education, they've got the doctorate, they've got all of these things which says this person is somebody I should listen to because they know what they're talking about, and they know more than I do, so I should comply and I should do what they say. I should take this pill, I should do this exercise, I should do whatever it is they say because they are someone in a position of authority.
Yeah, and I think I've got a really good example of this actually. So I've got a really good friend, and she is one of the top tennis coaches in the world. She's coached a lot of the absolute, the top Grand Slam winners, and she offers coaching services. She's got information products and books. She just recently wrote a book. And
she probably is the best person in the world and the most qualified and the greatest expert in this particular field.
Yeah. And she's one of the most humble people in the world. So for her to kind of talk about her success, that she's had, and talk about testimonials, and really kind of list out all her achievements, that's for a lot of people, that comes across as kind of, I can't say that. I want to
feel like they're boasting or bragging or something like that.
Yeah, and I kind of tried to explain to her how important it is, and you got to have to look at it from the perspective of helping other people. So who is the ideal person that my product or service is going to be able to help? Now, if I don't effectively communicate to them when they visit my site, they may leave and not get the benefit of my product and service. And in her case, literally, she can take a very, very talented, teenager or something and turn them into a world superstar, literally. And so, and that just means, that the impact financially, impact to their family and their entire future is just enormous. It's incredible. But if she doesn't communicate effectively, that person could visit the website and not understand how much she's able to help them.
Yeah,
and walk away, and literally, that's the difference between changing a life and not changing a life.
Yeah, I mean, a good way to sort of characterize that is that if let's say somebody, like a teenager who wants to play tennis, for example, and they're very, very good, but they just don't know how to take their game to the next level. If they were just browsing the internet looking for a way to help this, and they came across this friend of yours, and they just saw a blank page with a photo of her, they would know absolutely nothing. Now, she has the skills and the expertise and the power to be able to change that person's life and fulfill their dreams. But if she doesn't actually communicate the value that she has, the authority that she has, the skills, the experience, all of these things, that person will just waltz by like she's another person, like she has nothing to add. But she's got all this stuff that she's just not actually getting across.
Or even worse, they might go to another website with someone who is nowhere near as good, who happens to be really good at marketing, and sign up with the wrong coach.
Exactly.
And just not get the results and waste a lot of time and money just going down the toilet. So
yeah. So that's a brief summary of what authority is and why it's important. Okay. What's the next one?
The next one is reciprocity.
Yep.
Yeah. So reciprocity is all about the fact that when you do something for somebody or give a gift or something to somebody, that there's a feeling of indebtedness. There is, it's like I do you a favor, that they feel indebted to repay that.
And the interesting with the interesting point with this one is that the power of reciprocity can endure a very, very long time.
Yes.
For example, if someone who you're friends with, all of a sudden, let's say you have this agreement where you don't buy each other birthday presents, and then all of a sudden they turn up one year with a birthday present for you. What's going to happen is you're going to feel that sense of indebtedness right through to their birthday, which could be a year away, could be another year away. You're still going to feel that sense of, oh, they bought me a birthday present last year, so I really need to buy them one this year.
Yes.
It can last for, and I mean, that's just an example, but it can last a lot longer than that. So reciprocity is a very, very powerful one. Another example is if you're out to dinner and somebody buys you a drink, you feel this instant sense of need and indebtedness to repay that drink.
Yeah. And it makes sense. I mean, the way we're wired, we're social animals, and evolution. Our background is, we're stronger together in a community, together in groups. So the fact that we look out for each other and we repay each other just means just a better functioning society.
Exactly. Yep. What's the next one?
Next one.
Social proof.
Oh, yes.
Social proof is a good one. Social proof is one of probably out of the 6, there are 2 which are really, really, really powerful and very, very, very tangible in terms of you can implement them and get an almost an instant boost and a result from them. And social proof basically is that if you have a number of people basically assert an opinion or an action. So an example could be a bunch of kids on some play equipment. If there is a whole bunch of them playing on this particular piece of equipment, all of a sudden, because they've asserted this affection for the play equipment, then other people standing around are more likely to want to play on that equipment because these other people have already said, oh, I like this thing and I want to play on it and it's cool and it's fun. So then all of a sudden other people want to.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this is, like a tangible way that this is, we see this all the time is when, like on Facebook, when somebody likes something or they write a comment on something, you see 4,000 comments. There's a lot of people who have asserted a certain, opinion towards whatever it is that they're commenting on, and this encourages others to do the same.
Yeah, and it's a very, very important filter for people. Like I said, if you've got 10 different products and one product has a lot of testimonials, has a lot of likes, has a lot of comments, then it's a filter. It's easy to just go, well, I picked that one because it's the safest one, or hey, it just looks really, really great. Like all these other people have, they've said it really great. So to say, it's got really good reviews on Amazon or something.
And as a customer coming to your communication, or basically all us humans, we're always trying to conserve energy so much. And what we're trying to do as we go through life is we're basically subconsciously using these 6 factors as a filter for us to figure out whether or not something is worth our time, because our time and our energy are our most precious resource. So if we're analyzing whether we should buy something, whether we should listen to somebody, whether we should do something, we're using this as a subconscious filter to assert whether or not we should do it. So when you're writing emails, when you're doing your sales pages, these are the sort of things that you're trying to inject everywhere so that someone coming along goes, this is worth my time.
Yeah, because these are literally the way that we make decisions. We look for these things even if we're not, aware or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, which really makes me angry because, so many sales pages or, like product pages, say on Amazon, they've only got 2 or 3 kind of bullet points. They don't have all this kind of information. I want all this information. It's going to help me make a better decision. So, yeah.
Exactly. Like recently I was at an auto store and I was looking at a certain additive to put in my engine, and I had like 15 to choose from. And I ended up just going with the one that had the information on the bottle. Now, they probably all did it. They probably all had all actually satisfied the need that I had. But I actually went with the one that just said on the bottle, it does this. And it's just that information is critical.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the next influence factor?
Okay, we have liking.
Liking.
Yeah. So liking is really just the fact that we are much more likely to do something for someone if we like them, right? If someone's being a jerk to us or something, then obviously we're not going to do something for them. But but if we like the person, if we have a relationship with them, if we can see that we've got rapport with somebody, then we're more likely to be influenced by them. Robert Cialdini ran some experiments where they, got beautiful blonde women to go up to men and ask them to do something like buy raffle tickets or something, and a lot more of them complied because there was some instant rapport and liking in that situation. So it is very, very important in marketing, and sometimes people make the mistake of trying to come across as having too much authority, and I'm the super expert and I'm the big guru, and that's that's kind of good to a degree, but if you lose rapport and and you distance yourself from someone, then they're very, very unlikely they go, well, that's all good for you. You're really smart and you've got all these PhDs and all this sort of stuff. I'm just an average guy. I'm not going to be able to do that. So, or you might even come across as really arrogant in doing that. So you need to create connection with your reader as well.
An example I like to think about is this: is if your mother asks you to do something, you're much more likely to comply than if somebody off the street, walking down the sidewalk, asks you to do exactly the same thing. Because you don't know who they are, you don't know what their motives are. Whereas somebody who you like and and you trust and you have a lot of rapport with, i.e. your mother, you're much more likely to go, yeah, of course I'll do that. No worries.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what's the next one?
Number 5 is commitment and consistency.
All right. Commitment and consistency is basically that when you make an assertion about something, like I like pancakes, for example, then as soon as you have made that assertion, you're much more likely to be consistent with it later on. Especially if you say that in front of a lot of people. If you were around all your friends, you said, I love pancakes. And then the next time somebody's, 2 years down the track, they say, oh, do you like pancakes? You'd be much more likely to say yes, because you already have asserted that you do. If you all of a sudden said, no, I don't like them anymore, they'd be like, well, I don't understand. You said you did, now you don't. What's changed? And we almost feel like we're being fake if we change our minds.
Absolutely.
It's very, very powerful. Cialdini did a lot of experiments around this. What was the Hare Krishna one?
No, commitment and consistency. No, that was the Korean.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it's the
Korean
Korean
War. Do you
War.
want to tell that story?
Yeah, so it's really, really fascinating. So during the Korean War, there was a bunch of American POWs that were in a concentration camp, and the people that ran the Koreans who ran the concentration camp were trying to influence these soldiers to embrace the ideals of communism. So one way was to beat them into doing that, but they knew that didn't work, or didn't work if they tried doing it. But what they did was actually they used this commitment consistency principle. So what they did was they would take each soldier individually, they would take them into a room and they would get them to write in their own handwriting something like, not that communism is the best in the world, but that maybe communism it's not so bad. There's some aspects of it which are really good and positive, something like that, and get them to sign their name, right? And then the people running the concentration camp would take these letters that were signed and post them up where everyone could kind of see. And an interesting thing happened, that the people that wrote those letters would actually begin to take on those beliefs and start standing up and defending what they had written, because there's just this incredible pressure for us to be consistent with what we say, what we've written. And gradually, it's kind of the chink in the armor. Then they get them to commit to bigger and bigger sort of, commitments towards, taking on communism. So it's very, very powerful. It doesn't, we'll talk, in future episodes about how to specifically use this in online marketing. It's still a very, very useful and very powerful technique.
It only has a few applications, though. It's one that's very powerful in the right circumstance.
Yeah, it doesn't really have necessarily universal application, but when you can use it, definitely it's very, very powerful and very subtle.
Yes. Yep.
And the final one is probably our favourite.
It's definitely our favourite.
Which is called scarcity.
Yep. Scarcity is, as I mentioned, with social proof. Scarcity is the other one, which is really the most powerful, the most universal, and it's the most effective at actually getting the response. It's the thing that really tips people over the edge at that point of making a decision, because it basically brings that decision forward. Probably an example where we've all experienced scarcity is we've all bought something on eBay before, and eBay auctions are perfectly engineered with deep scarcity, because usually there's only one item up for sale and there's a deadline before the auction expires. House auctions are another example of this, where there's only one item and lots of people want it, so it's a scarce resource. And basically what scarcity is it's when there is a limitation, when there is more people who want something than there are things available, it becomes more valuable. And when something's more valuable, people are much more likely to try and take advantage of it. So basically scarcity, in the two types of scarcity are limited quantity of stuff, and there are basically a limited amount of time until it becomes no longer available. So, I mean, if you think about it in the example of water, if there's a water shortage, then all of a sudden that water becomes so much more valuable, and people are going to start trying to get their own, supply of this water so that they can survive. So if there's an abundance of water, then it's not really that valuable. I mean, it's why gold and diamonds and precious metals are so valuable, because they are in short supply.
Yeah, so scarcity is just one of those. It's just, it's very universal. It's very powerful, and it makes sense why, because as I said,
it really taps into the survival instinct.
Yeah, like if you're in a cave and there's only a little bit of food there, then you want to be really motivated to go and get that food before it disappears. It's literally life or death. Today, it's more. I mean,
we don't really have. I mean, like in the world that we live in, we don't really have that in terms of food and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, but it's more like we want something.
Exactly right.
It's a desire. So for my case, like the new iPhone gets released, and I'm queuing for like 6 hours in a line, and there's hundreds of people there. So it's good. I know there's only a certain number of quantity in Australia, and in this particular store, I've got to make sure I get there before 4 o'clock in the morning to queue up so I can get my device. And yes, I'm that pathetic.
But we also see it with sales. Like, a department store, has a Christmas sale or a Boxing Day sale or a Black Friday sale or whatever it is. There's this big sale, and if I don't go and get what I want now, then I'm going to have to pay double the price for it, because it's this big discount. So you're much more motivated to take action because this discount is expiring.
That's right. So there are consequences of not taking action. That's really the key thing behind scarcity. But we'll cover much more of that in the future episodes. And yes, we love scarcity so much. We actually created a product called Scarcity Samurai, which helps you to visualize scarcity, on your website.
Yep. So we'll talk about a lot more about that in future episodes.
Okay, so that kind of probably winds up this first conversion factor episode. We've got a couple of action points. We really, believe, there's one thing to listen to information, take information. It's another thing to go and start applying this in your business. So we've got a couple of action points today. The first is that you should pick up a copy of the Psychology of. It's called Influence, Psychology of Persuasion.
By Robert Cialdini.
That's the important thing. So just take it, read it. It's very, very easy to read. It's all told in stories. It's fascinating. Goes into a lot more detail than what we've done here. Still probably one of my #1 marketing books of all time, and I've read a lot of marketing books. The second action point is, now that you've kind of seen these 6 factors of influence, just open your eyes. Take a look at advertising or ads on television, or the next time you're in a sales situation, and see how many of these factors can you pick that are being used, and even think about which ones are missing. What others? How could you potentially add some of these other factors of influence to improve that piece of marketing, improve that
I mean, like probably the 2 easiest ways to actually do that is if you're on Facebook and you see a lot of your friends liking things, to just try and sort of take a step outside of yourself and think about how that affects you. You see, know, like maybe a picture comes up in your feed and all of your friends have liked it, or lots of people have liked it, you know, maybe just have a think about, am I more likely, you know, do I feel like I want to click on this now and see what it's all about, what all the fuss is about? And another one is scarcity, is actually looking, you know, looking at being more aware of product sales and department store sales and auctions and
anytime you buy something, ask yourself, why did you buy?
Yeah, exactly.
What
right.
were the factors that made you buy? I love, you know, every time I buy something, it's like, why did I buy?
And probably the best way to actually kind of realize that is after you've bought something and you maybe not sure why you bought it afterwards, or maybe you have a sense of regret or something like that, and start to think about, okay, well, what was actually at play when I bought this? You know, was there a lot of emotion and excitement? Was you know, like, why did I actually buy this? Yeah. That would be a very important one.
Okay. And the final call to action is we're actually going to, we would like to start a new segment on the show, which is doing marketing reviews. So if you would be very interested in getting our opinion about how to improve your sales process, your marketing process, even your SEO on your website, submit your website for a marketing review. So how do they do that, Ben?
Well, what they need to do is they need to send us, basically send us an email, and we want that email to support@noblesamurai.com.
Yep.
Which is just our catch-all email address. And what we want is we want your website address, so we can actually look at your website. We want your name and where you're from, just so we can put a bit of a name to a face to a name and know who we're talking about and who we're helping. A photo would be really nice, just so we can really get that sort of sense of connection with you. We also want to know what the main problem is, or the main thing that you're trying to achieve on your website, because this is obviously, you know, we're trying to engineer this around actually helping you. So if you send us your website, we'd like to know what it is you're actually trying to achieve. Are you trying to get sales? Are you trying to get people to opt in? Are you trying to get people to comment? Are you trying to get people to just download something? Are you trying to, you know, what are you actually trying to achieve with this website, so that we can actually help you, that we can basically do a review and actually, you know, give you some action points that you can implement to make that a success.
Yeah. Okay. So please submit your website. Yeah, we'd really love to give you some feedback and apply our experience in marketing to help your business thrive. All right. On to our next segment. Okay.
G'day guys, it's Jeff here from the Noble Samurai support team. We like to call this next segment Newsdesk. Today we want to give you a bit of a roundup of some of the changes we've made to our products. We have Market Samurai, we have Article Samurai, Domain Samurai, and the newest kid on the block, Scarcity Samurai. So we've made some really good changes of recent time, and we'll kick off with Market Samurai. I'll pass over to my illustrious colleague Alex here. Alex, what are some of the changes that we've made recently with Market Samurai?
First of all, hi, I'm Alex. You may recognize me from the points that I wandered through shot earlier on. Professional. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about Market Samurai. Most of you as our customers will know about Market Samurai. It's been our flagship product for 4 or 5 years now.
5 years.
5 years nearly. So yeah, Market Samurai is one that we continue to update. We try and add new features, try and improve the usability. And we make a bunch of changes. The first module I'm going to talk about is the Rank Tracker module. Now, last year we made a big move with Rank Tracker. So we changed it from a module that pretty much required user action every time it was used. People had to open up Market Samurai, go into the Rank Tracker module, and click Update to get their updates. And the change we made it an automated system. So effectively, every single week it does an update. If you come in and see it, you see it. If not, then you don't actually have to take an action. So with the new Rank Tracker module, one of the changes we've recently made is it's a usability upgrade. So when you go into a Rank Tracker, if you've got a dozen keywords added, and you want to see updates for it, you'd have to click on each keyword individually, open them up, and you'd see all the pages. The change we've made is we've pretty much made it so you can select multiple keywords at once, expand the results, collapse the results. It's a small feature, but it does save a lot of time. And if you look at saving a few minutes every day over the course of a week, you're actually saving a workable amount of time. So that's Rank Tracker. Next up, we've got the SEO Competition module. Now, for SEO Competition, we've added this is a new feature. This is kind of a cool one. We found that a lot of users had a desire to actually show SEO competition results to colleagues, to friends, to say an SEO consultant. But previously, the only way they could do that was to get their consultant to have a copy of Market Samurai and send a project file to them.
Yeah, or take a screenshot and email a screenshot, which is, again, it's a pain in the butt.
It's a pain in the butt, and it also doesn't look,
it's not very professional. Yeah.
So we've added a new feature, which is the ability to just share your results pretty quickly and easily. We're actually going to do a quick demo of it. I think Jeff's prepared back there to do a demo.
I have, and I don't think I let our director behind the scenes know that we're actually going to do this. So, Dan, if you can hear,
okay. It's okay.
we need to get onto my laptop and to get Market Samurai up and running.
Everyone cross their fingers.
There we go.
There we are.
Excellent. He's a great man. Okay, so the button down the bottom right-hand corner here, you see it says Share Results. If you click on that, you get an option to share it publicly for anyone with a link who can see my results. Obscured, anyone with the link can see my results, but keywords and links are obscured. Or private, where a password is needed to view the results. So for this example, we'll just click public, share now, and it gives me a unique link that's been copied to the clipboard. Now if I go into my browser, click go to page, even easier. Ta-da! There we go. Beautiful set of results that you can share with your clients, and yes, a lot more professional than just sending a screenshot. So that's one of the fantastic features that we've just released very recently, in the last few weeks, I believe.
All right. What's up next? So next up, we have the keyword research module. Now, the keyword research module is the major module for pretty much all our products. So it's used in Article Samurai, Domain Samurai, Market Samurai. It's a free module, so it's available for all users, and we intend to keep it that way. So with keyword research, we have recently tried to make we've tried to improve the way the workflow happens. So at the moment, there's a lot of different people who use Market Samurai and a lot of different affiliates who promote Market Samurai, and they use it in different ways. So we've got some people who like to use exact match data. We've got some people who use phrase match. Some people use broad match, etc. But Market Samurai at the moment is pretty much engineered toward our workflow, and we're trying to really make it as flexible a tool as possible. If you want to just view exact match data, then you really should be able to. So the change we're making to Market Samurai is we're pretty much breaking down the keyword research module so that all the different match types, all the different types of data that you can gather can be gathered separately. So you can set Market Samurai up so that it works the way that you want it to. It's a pretty big change, and we're trying to make it as sort of backward compatible, so anyone who has an existing workflow doesn't find it interrupted. And it's one that's going to require a fair bit of internal testing. But yeah, we're gonna break it down, make it so that you can set things up the way you like it. Save a default set of filters, or even you can have multiple workflows and be able to swap between those workflows depending on what stage of the investigation you're in, depending on what it is you're actually trying to achieve.
Yeah, and it's going to be a whole lot faster as a result.
It's going to be a lot faster.
Significant speeding.
Yeah, because we can. We've improved it so it's a lot faster. It doesn't need to get as much data; it just gets the data it needs to get for the particular workflow that you're trying to do. So you should see a very significant speed up as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to that one. I think a lot of our users will be as well.
I think that's everything for Market Samurai this week, but we'll bring more news to you each week as it comes up.
Absolutely. Next cab off the rank is the Scarcity Samurai. Now this is our baby. It's only been out for a few months, I believe.
2 months, I think.
2 months, yeah.
Just coming up on 2 months.
And a lot of changes have been made since we actually first released it. Speed increases. We've done quite a few things to just make it a better experience for users. Who'd like to have a chat about that? Huge?
No, you can go.
I got it. It's all cool. So when we went live with Scarcity Samurai, for anyone who's not really familiar with Scarcity Samurai, it's a tool for WordPress blogs. A plug-in for WordPress blogs. You hook it into WordPress, and it allows you to make very quick and easy scarcity-based funnels. It can work both with like a single page, allowing you to add banners for scarcity, so they count down when you load a page. But the real key to it is that it allows you to work in an autoresponder. So I come to a page and I sign up to an email sequence, and I can be sent links in that email sequence that allow me access to pages over a certain amount of time, and those are like time limited pages. And so the key to this is the ability to get Scarcity Samurai to work with autoresponders. When we went live originally, we worked with 3 autoresponders. We had the ability to use SendPepper, Aweber, and Infusionsoft. 3 wasn't enough though, so we've doubled that. We've now pushed out MailChimp, GetResponse, and Office Autopilot. So we're now up to 6. As people suggest more, we're looking into them, trying to work out which ones are the best ones, which ones are the ones that the internet marketing community really want, and the more people who ask for them, the faster we get them implemented.
So if you don't have an autoresponder that's supported, just email us, and if there's enough people requesting it, we'll add it into the product.
If you want to know what email address to use, we'll have a slide at the end of the show just to let you know the best contact details for us. Next up, we've got the administration view. This one's it's a usability thing, but we think it's really going to help a lot. We have a fair few users who contact us saying, I'm trying to set up a scarcity funnel, but when I try and view my pages, it doesn't look the way I expect it. And more often than not, the reason for that is that they're actually logged in as an admin. So the pages that they're viewing, they're able to see it because they're an admin when the offer may have expired or something like that. Yeah. So we've just added a nice little visual cue, just letting you know that you're in administration mode. Gives you a heads up that you should be maybe looking in an incognito window if you're using Chrome. So it's a little usability thing, but we think it'll help. Next up, I've just clicked the button twice. Next up, we've got the banner selector. There we are. So the banner selector is a really cool little feature. So we have the ability to add banners to pages. You can add them in the header and the footer. But when it comes time to make a banner, you have a banner that's probably going to be called My Banner or something like that. Maybe My Banner 1, My Banner 2. And unless you have a really good memory, you're actually not going to know what My Banner 1 and My Banner 2 are. And that leads you then down the path of trying to give all your banners names. Red banner with big text, red banner telling me that it's 50% off, etc., which really isn't that ideal. So we've actually made a new banner selector that pretty much renders the banner as, it renders a small version of the banner in a drop-down box. So you can call your banners My Banner 1 and My Banner 2, and when you use the drop-down box, it actually gives you a miniature version of the banner. So you can really tell what it is you're going to be doing to the page.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice little feature. Like I say, little feature, quite a big undertaking.
And a lot of these features do come from requests from users as well. So.
Absolutely. In fact, the next feature, support for PHP 5.2. PHP 5.2 is something of a dinosaur, but it is pretty much the default PHP version for a lot of different hosting providers.
Yeah, so PHP is the language that runs WordPress.
Yes. So 5.3 is currently the sort of major version. I think it's their current major version number. Yep. But 5.2 is really heavily used. We've had a huge number of customers contact us saying, my site uses PHP 5.2. More often than not, there's actually hosting providers do give you the option of upgrading to 5.3. But that's an extra step. It's one that people don't want to take. A lot of people who are on shared hosting, don't actually have that option because a lot of sites would be affected by the upgrade.
If you can upgrade to 5.3, you still should, though.
Absolutely.
5.3 is a lot faster, and WordPress will drop support for 5.2 relatively soon.
Yep.
So you should, definitely upgrade it, and 5.2 sucks. So,
but for anyone, and there are quite a lot of people out there who are still running 5.2 for whatever reason, we've now added support for 5.2. So Scarcity Samurai, fully functional. It drops the speed fractionally, but it shouldn't be a noticeable thing.
Yeah.
But I mean that really should push you toward getting 5.3 because it is the better way to go. Scarcity Samurai is now fully functional with PHP 5.2.
What about some of the future things, Alex? What's in line now for Scarcity Samurai in the coming weeks?
That is a terrible joke. Well, coming up in line for Scarcity Samurai are what we like to call inline banners. So at the moment...
I just got it, actually.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was an accident.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
So Inline banners. Well, currently, the way banners work in Scarcity Samurai is that you have the option to put the banner in either the header or the footer, and they're floating banners. So as you scroll down, the banner actually follows the page either up or down, so it'll stay in the same place. And that, that can obscure a little bit of content depending on where it is, but it also means that the scarcity offer is there in your customer's face. They know what's happening. But one thing we've been asked for is banners that can be inserted into content itself. So that would be a static banner that you can put actually into the HTML content of the WordPress page. So as you move through the page, that banner is only visible, in concert with pieces of content. So it actually adds a lot more flexibility. So one of the things we're currently working on, in fact, the prototype was finished this morning, is inline banners, and I think Jeff's going to give us a little bit of a look.
You can put them into blog posts as well.
You can put them into blog posts.
Awesome.
You can put them into I think it's any sort of page on WordPress.
That's awesome.
Yep. So
here's a bit of a demo for you all to have a look at. As you can see here, we have some content just up here. We scroll a bit further down, we have more content here, and here we have a banner ticking down nicely, and if we don't buy now, then we may miss out. So this is the concept of what we're aiming for. There'll be different styles and whatnot. You'll be able to edit your own banner and do whatever you want with it, and I believe you'll be able to have multiple banners in the one page as well. So
absolutely,
that would be good. Multiple inline banners to keep people buying your stuff, which is very important.
So just another couple of things about inline banners. We're also going to have support for horizontal and vertical banners, so you can chuck a banner like on the sidebar of your page.
Yeah, the sidebar banners would be awesome to have it on every single page.
Yep,
that'd be fantastic.
So that's inline banners. It's a work in progress, but the internal testing begins now.
Yeah, and keep shooting through your ideas too for Scarcity Samurai.
Absolutely. Now, in fact, the next thing we're going to talk about is the wizards within Scarcity Samurai. So, Scarcity Samurai, it's got a lot of customizable stuff in it, but the real key to the ease of use for Scarcity Samurai is the wizards. We've got 4 wizards at the moment that take you through 2 types of evergreen campaign and 2 types of fixed date campaign. And they allow you to set up either a multi or a single page campaign, but we're looking to expand that. So what a wizard is in Scarcity Samurai is a very quick, I think it's generally a 5-step process that just tells you this is what you need to do. Here are the pages you need to create. Here are the scarcity elements you can add to each page, and pretty much it takes you from not having a sales funnel at all to having a functional scarcity-based sales funnel, just step by step. And given how easy it is to set up, we're actually looking to add more wizards with different types of campaigns in mind. So rather than having to take an existing wizard and effectively twist it to work the way you're after it, you'll just have a wizard that will do exactly what it is you're looking to do.
It's awesome. In fact, I was at a recent WordPress conference on the weekend. A bunch of people came up and said, hey, we really love Scarcity Samurai, particularly the wizards. They actually really like the wizards because it's so easy. In fact, some of the developers were going to copy that idea for their product as well. So yeah, it's definitely a winner.
So given that we're in the process of putting together more wizards, if you have ideas for wizards, if you have ideas for types of sales funnel that we could incorporate into a wizard, shoot through an email, and we'll look to what we can implement.
Awesome.
And I think that covers Scarcity Samurai for this week. I mean, next week will be another story. So here, just a quick idea of the different autoresponders that we've got supported. If you don't use any of these autoresponders, as we mentioned, let us know what you do use. We'll do our best to get everything supported.
Absolutely. Now, Huge, I have a question for you, my friend. Article Samurai. One of the most common questions we get asked in support is, what is Article Samurai and does it work? So will you be able to let the guys out there know, is it still working? Is it still a viable SEO tool?
Yeah, so Article Samurai is our content syndication tool. So it allows you to write an article and then distribute that onto like tens of thousands of different sites out there, primarily for the purpose of getting backlinks to your site. And it's been a really, really effective strategy in the past. Last year? It was definitely last year.
Before last, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Could've been last year.
I don't know. No, I think it was April last year or something. Anyway,
Time's a terrible thing.
Google updated their search engine algorithm, and it was called the Penguin update, and that changed the rules around a little bit. So a lot of people were impacted. A lot of people kind of lost rankings through that, and so what we did, we took a look at this update, and we advised our Article Samurai customers about how to change the way that they're using Article Samurai in order to still get kind of good results. So for those that are not 100% aware, like one of the big things in Penguin that you have to be careful about is building too many targeted backlinks, so backlinks that have your too many keywords in them. So if you had like 80% of the links coming to your website had your search engine phrase that you were trying to rank for in them, that was just, that's too much, and you'll get penalized for doing that. So we now we've changed the guidelines, so we're telling people to mix up the backlink spread.
So it's now more about ratios of stuff rather than just pure volume?
Yeah, that's right. So the rules have changed around a little bit, so you need to kind of use it with a little bit of moderation and a little bit of sense. The thing we did towards the end of,
Definitely last year this time.
Last year was one of the great things, because we got thousands of people using Article Samurai, we can work out we know what articles they've submitted, we know what keywords they kind of go for. So we just did an internal research project, taking a look and see, what are the strategies that our customers are using that are working currently in the marketplace. And we found that a lot of people were still getting quite good success. Quite a very large percentage of people that were using Article Samurai were still getting front page rankings. And the other thing we found, which was a little bit surprising, I guess not surprising in hindsight, was there's a ton of people in using Article Samurai to rank YouTube videos, and anyone who's knows a little bit about SEO knows that YouTube SEO, YouTube marketing is really, really huge at the moment. It's a lot easier to get a YouTube video a lot of the times to rank than a piece of content, on a blog. So using Article Samurai to just build, you don't need a lot of backlinks, maybe just one syndication out with backlinks to a YouTube video, just gives that YouTube video just a little bit of juice that gets it ranking high on the search engine pages. So if you see a keyword phrase and it doesn't have any YouTube things ranking, or there's only one or two, then there's still a lot of opportunities there to use Article Samurai for your SEO.
Well, YouTube videos, they're kind of still low-hanging fruit when it comes to SEO. I mean, Google are almost always going to give you one or two video results for pretty much any keyword.
Yes.
So if you do see a search term that doesn't have a couple of video results, almost certainly there's going to be a way that you're going to be able to get your video up the top of that one.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So good news on the Article Samurai.
Yeah, so it's working. It's working really great around videos. So yeah, still definitely a tool that's working in today's environment.
Excellent. Well, this will be my favourite part of this segment, and we're talking about the future direction for Article Samurai. Now we have a few products in the pipeworks, one of which is called Rank Tracker Samurai. Now, you'd like to explain about Rank Tracker Samurai and what exactly it is?
Yeah, so Rank Track, as Alex sort of spoke a bit earlier, Rank Tracker is our rank tracking service, but currently it's only available to people who use.
It's a friendly gardener.
So I'm just kind of watering plants. Don't worry, we're just streaming live to the internet, no problems.
Tried to discourage him, fails.
Yes. Lost my train of thought there. So
Rank Tracker Samurai.
Rank Tracker. Currently, to use Rank Tracker, you need a copy of Market Samurai or a copy of Article Samurai. That's the only way you can get access to that service. So Rank Tracker Samurai is about decoupling Rank Tracker so people can use it as a standalone service. So allowing people to download a piece of Rank Tracker Samurai software and access the service, but there's no need or requirement to own a copy of Market Samurai or Article Samurai.
It's going to be awesome.
Sorry, can you not walk through that? That would be great. Thank you very much.
So,
everybody seems to want to do things today.
Okay.
Busy in the office today.
Episode 1. We'll call it a pilot. This is not episode 1. Episode 1 will be polished, slick.
So Rank Tracker Samurai is another thing that's coming up soon. It's going to be exciting for everybody.
Yes,
it is. Okay, next cab off the rank, we have a few more products. We haven't quite finished yet. Email Samurai. Email Samurai, huge. What is it?
Yeah, so a lot of the ideas for products that we what we have at Noble Samurai, based on products that we've built internally that we really want, that we can't find any good alternatives in the marketplace. So we, as most people know, we've got about 500,000 people on our email database, and we've been very, very successful in that area. But we've really struggled to find a really good email autoresponder service. And we used to use Aweber, and we have a whole lot of issues that I won't go into right now using that, but there was just a whole bunch of things that we couldn't do with Aweber and any other, not just Aweber, but just any other kind of service out there, and particularly to do with specifically sales and marketing activities. So about 8-9 months ago, we built an autoresponder service from scratch, built it on WordPress, and we've been using it for the last for the last 8 months. So if you've been getting emails from us, they haven't been coming from a commercial email service. They've been coming from our own Email Samurai.
If you haven't been getting emails, let us know.
How are you watching this? So that's been very, very successful. We've been talking to a lot of other marketers about what we've been working on, and there's a lot of interest in it. So we're looking to commercialize this Email Samurai plugin and service. And stay tuned. We're really excited about it. In a nutshell, most autoresponder services out there are not really made for marketing. They don't like your marketing. In fact, marketers are the problem children of email marketing, because they often result in a lot of complaints and deliverability issues.
Terms of service that say you cannot email marketing.
Yeah, like MailChimp, for example, you cannot do any affiliate marketing if you use MailChimp. You might not know that if you subscribe to MailChimp. So, and there's a lot of things that we'd like to be able to do in email marketing to improve response rate, but that most of the services out there are not really targeting direct marketers. They're targeting corporates or people doing newsletters and that kind of stuff. So we've really been neglected, I think, as a customer base, and so we hope to fix those problems with Email Samurai.
And the really nice part about Email Samurai, it's a WordPress plugin. So anyone who's got a WordPress site and wants to use it for the purposes of email marketing, they're able to just download, install the plugin.
Yeah, and we've been using it. The current version, which is very basic, we've sent millions and millions and millions of emails, so the thing is really rock solid. But there's a whole bunch of other features we want to add into it, and pretty up the user interface. But
it's a good example of the fact that the products that we actually develop are ones that we want to use. We actually use what we market. So we'd only ever put it out to market once we know it's good as gold and ready to go. So last but not least, huge. Have we chosen a name for this product yet? Or
we have.
We have indeed. It's up on the screen right now.
That's okay, because I heard something different. Broadcast Samurai.
Yeah, Broadcast Samurai. This is a perfect example of
product we want
to use, because literally this product didn't exist 8 days ago or 9 days ago. And when we've done webinars in the past, we've used something like a product called GoToWebinar, which is a fantastic product.
Yeah, it's solid.
It's solid, but for us, it's got a couple of restrictions. One, you can only have 1,000 people in the room, which probably sounds like that's a lot of people. But we've had situations where we've needed to have more than 1,000 people. We've had 7,000 people register our webinars and only 1,000 people in the room. So it's really not enough for us. And the other thing too, it used to be available at a really great price. For $99 a month or $97 a month, you could get access to 1,000 room webinar through GoToWebinar. But they changed their pricing. We weren't even aware of this until recently, because we got grandfathered in at the $97 a month deal. And but now it's something like $400 or $500 a month to get access to that kind of level, which is way beyond the means of most people in online business. That's very, very expensive, particularly if you're not doing webinar every single week, if you're only using it every now and then. So a while ago, Google released this amazing thing called Google Hangouts, and we're streaming this live, hopefully, through Google Hangouts. And Google Hangouts has a feature called Google Hangouts on Air, which allows you to not just talk to 3 or 4 people that you're hanging out with on Google Hangouts, which is it's like a peer video chat system, but allow you to broadcast that using the very, very solid YouTube YouTube Live service. So YouTube Live is built, essentially to take an unlimited number of people. They use YouTube Live for streaming huge concerts, for streaming. The royal wedding was broadcast. I think even parts of the Olympics were broadcast through YouTube Live. I mean, this thing is serious. Serious stuff.
Reasonable scalability then.
Reasonable scalability, and so essentially gives you unlimited scaling. So it's really fantastic. So as online marketers, webinars are a great way to talk to your audience, as well as a great way to create content. That's why we're doing this, is to obviously get more content out there and force us to produce really great content and get that out. But the problem is it's not really made for webinars. There's a whole bunch of webinar features that you can't really do very well through Google Hangouts on Air. So we decided to build that. So we wrote a plugin called Broadcast Samurai, which allows you to get the live video stream from YouTube and put that inside your web page. So if you're viewing this live, you're actually using Broadcast Samurai.
Beta testers.
Your beta testers. We've got there's a little chat system underneath this video as well, and that chat system again has been built to take essentially an unlimited number of people. So many thousands of people can be chatting in the live chat. And it solves problems. The fact, with Google Hangouts on Air, it's very difficult to give people an address to go to.
Unless you start streaming hours ahead of the
you only get the link to the live thing, the live stream when you start streaming. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg process. So if you're trying to get people to show up to a live webinar, you need an address. So by having a WordPress plugin, you can give people the address of the page on your site, and then it will automatically detect when you start broadcasting, and then it'll just all magically work. And we'll have a whole bunch of other awesome webinar functionality down the track as well. But so that's potentially going to become a product if you're interested. People I've mentioned it to, really excited about it. So that is Broadcast Samurai.
We've been very busy, as you can tell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this product roundup and you're as excited as we are for some of the stuff coming up. I'm going to exit the stage now and leave you in the capable hands of Alex and Huge for the next segment, Ask a Samurai.
Doesn't seem to have the ability to go back twice.
Okay, Ask a Samurai. What's Ask a Samurai about, Alex?
Well, Ask a Samurai is our one and only opportunity for the week for our users to effectively ask this gentleman here, who is the Master Samurai, a few questions about internet marketing, about SEO, about our products, about everything, really.
Yeah. Not just ask myself, ask anyone from our team, but I'll just be the stand-in here because I'm sitting here.
Because you're the Master Samurai. It's a reasonable one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been looking at questions that have been submitted by our user base through support, through Twitter, through Facebook, etc. Looking for questions that people really want to know the answers to, so that we can try and answer some of them today.
Awesome.
So we'll kick off. The first one is to do with social media. So, I mean, social media, it's not that new, but it's a very, very rapidly changing environment. And a lot of people are, even though social media itself isn't new, a lot of people are coming into it still relatively fresh. So the question we've got today is, a lot of my competitors are using social media. What's a good way to start using social media?
Okay, well, I think social media is very, very important. And I think one of the questions you need to ask yourself is, what outcome are you trying to get from social media?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't have a very strong idea of what you're trying to do, then you're likely just to hang out on Facebook and Twitter and waste a whole bunch of time and not really get a lot of really great business results. There's a whole lot of reasons why you want to be on social media.
Mm-hmm. Give a few of them.
Yeah, like probably the number one thing is just so that your customers can actually talk to you.
Okay.
Like it's just like an email address now. So people will want to talk to you, want to communicate through that channel, and you should be available in any venue that your customers are on. So that's kind of like, that's one of the minimum reasons to be there. But you don't need to be very active if that's all you need to kind of do.
Yeah. Set up a page or set up a Twitter profile, and you're kind of there.
Yeah, and so I mean, as marketers, a lot of what we're trying to do with social media is to get traffic,
mm-hmm.
right, or to increase conversions, or to warm up our traffic and build a relationship with people. So there's a lot of really good reasons to use social media.
Mm-hmm.
And also with search engine optimization at the moment, there is certainly a huge bias towards social media engagement. So a page that's been liked, a lot of people that have been shared around, like we don't, will tend to rank even higher in the search engines, for example, and people have shown this mathematically this to be true. So there are search engine benefits for doing that as well as just the ability to get viral traffic. If people like something, obviously they're sharing it with their friends.
Yep.
And if your customers are likely to know other customers that might be interested in your product as well. So that's kind of some of the reasons why you might want to use social media.
Yep.
I think that I'll probably go through a couple of really basic examples of what people should be doing. I think the minimum thing that you should be doing, apart from obviously responding to customer inquiries and things through the social networks, is SEO certainly is becoming more content marketing, and I think anyone who's online needs to be putting really great content out. I think it's content marketing is a big buzzword at the moment, but it's really hasn't changed. Content is king. Putting out really great content is a fantastic way to attract people to your visitors to your website.
Yep.
So at the very least, that any content that you kind of create, you should share that through all the social media places. So, and there's lots of tools out there that can help you do that. So I think that's kind of the minimum, is using it to get stuff out.
Yep.
I think the next notch up from that is to start participating in the conversations in your community, in your niche, in your market. And there's two really good ways to do that. One is to take a look at who are the big players in your marketplace. Follow them all. You might even add them to a Twitter list or something, so that it's easier for you to follow them if it's on Twitter, or build relationships with the people that are the market leaders, and then whenever they share some really great information, share that to your followers. So
Yep.
if they're tweeting something, retweet that to your followers. I mean, curate it. Don't just retweet every single thing that they tweet, right? But good stuff that's of interest, retweet them, because they'll see that, and then you'll start showing up on their radar too, which is a great way for you to build, relationship with the movers and shakers in your industry.
And obviously, you'd want to you want to declare your sources. You want to just make it clear that you
Absolutely.
someone else.
Yeah, I mean, and the name of the game these days is curation, really, and it's not even content creation. And I guess another really great way is to find what are the major really great blogs and websites in your industry that have a lot of news, a lot of really great articles. Add them all to your feed reader. I was going to say Google Reader, but looks like that's dying very, very soon. But into your RSS feed reader. Or into Flipboard, or whatever you're using, or Zeit, or there's a whole bunch of different sort of social news platforms and things.
Yep.
And when you see something really great, share that in social media. And you can even use a tool such as Buffer that can add each of these things that you're trying to share into a queue, and then schedule that to go out to all your different social media outlets at the right time.
Yes.
Because you're going to get different responses at different time zones, so it works out what the best time is for engagement with your particular customer base, and gets it out there. So I think they are some really practical ways of using social media that can have a real tangible business benefit.
Cool. Alrighty. The next one, it's been the same question that's been coming up for probably the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Doesn't really seem to change, but the answer does the answer does change.
Yes.
We're learning a lot more. The next one is, with Google changing all the rules, what do you recommend now as a viable SEO strategy?
Yeah, well, I think the important thing to realize is that Google's opinion has not changed. Like, people say, Google's changed everything, but they publish a set of Google Webmaster Guidelines. There have been little tweaks here and there, and they're more clarifications than anything else.
But when they released Penguin and Panda, they were weren't they major changes to the the Webmaster tool or Webmaster Guidelines?
No, not really. There were a couple of clarifications around some of that sort of stuff, but the actual spirit of it did not change. And so what Google has been saying has been permissible behavior and recommended behavior in search engine optimization really has not changed. What has changed, as you pointed out, is that their implementation of actually enforcing those rules has changed. Okay, and And the biggest change is that in the past with search engine optimization, like essentially the more you strayed away from those guidelines and the more that, like were aggressive, say with link building and sort of went to the grey or black hat sort of areas of search engine optimization, the worst that would happen if Google updated an algorithm was that any benefit that you were getting from that work that was, a little sort of bit in the grey areas, that you did would just disappear. You'd sort of just lose the benefit. So you'd probably lose rankings with that as well.
It would feel like a penalty.
Yeah, but then you could just start again, do something else, or clean up and swear that you never do any of that dodgy SEO stuff again.
I've never met a person who said that they do black hat.
Well, black hat people don't think they do black hat. But now with the Penguin update, Google wouldn't ever really say this, but the realities are that if you have been caught with, say, getting these anchor text ratios out of too heavily optimized, too aggressively optimized, then you can essentially penalize that site, and so oftentimes it can be better just to start with a brand new site than trying to actually recover.
So the penalty applies to the site itself.
Yes, if you get the wrong mix of backlinks and things, and this has been the case with Panda as well, with large amounts of duplicate content. That's actually probably the biggest change. But Penguin, yes, even with the backlink ratios, you can actually have a penalty, and that's the game change. The game changer is we're moving from to a position of penalties. And so that being in mind, we actually released a great webinar about how to recover from these penalties and what to do. But
put together a tool for actually looking at how your backlinks are structured.
We've got the backlink health check tool that we've created to help people to measure this stuff and work out how close the line people are in terms of crossing over these rules. But in terms of viable SEO strategy, to answer the question, I think SEO is just becoming more marketing, right? I mean, to just do more marketing, what does that mean? And I think the word to Google look up is content marketing. And this is the creation of really great content around your product and service kind of areas, to create a connection with your readers, to create inbound traffic, to allow people to create engaging content that people can share and interact, and essentially pre-sell your brand to your customer base through content. So I'll give you a really good example of this. I met someone at a conference last weekend, and he does SEO for a very, very large insurance firm, and when selling car insurance, for example, most people, when they buy car insurance, they just keep renewing their policy. They don't look around to save a bit more money, each time, their policy comes up for renewal. So really the battle is fought in car insurance on the first-time car buyer who wants to insure their car for the very first time. So this person who is a professional SEO actually helps them create content targeting the first car buyer. So they create a bunch of content about how to buy your first car, 10 steps to look out for when buying your first car, and produce free reports and a whole bunch of really great content out there targeting that market. It doesn't even really talk about insurance, or insurance might be one of the points. On that kind of checklist, but it's branded with them, and it introduces them to that brand. So when that person does get around to buying their car and purchasing insurance, hopefully they'll be more likely to purchase insurance from them rather than one of their competitors, particularly if they've created some great content. And then they can link to their website to get like the full 22 steps to buying a new car report, and that creates a relationship. They can send emails out to them, offer them an offer. Hey, if you take out insurance in the next 30 days, then hey, we'll give you 20% off your premium or whatever it is. So basically, by putting out a whole bunch of content, it's a really good way to attract people into your brand. So that's what content marketing is creating.
Kind of works on the principle you mentioned earlier of reciprocity. You're giving people something. You're putting something out there in the market.
Yes.
And so the general feel is that they should then give you something back.
And at the very least, even if people don't feel, oh, you gave me this free report, I owe you something. At the very least, it
Gives them a positive bias.
It gives people trust. It creates trust, right? And people, and that whole liking thing we talked about earlier. People are more likely to do business with someone that they know than someone that they don't know.
Absolutely.
And this moves you into the know zone as opposed from the friend zone as opposed from the stranger zone. So so that's kind of content marketing. Definitely Google this stuff, look at it. But I really think that getting a great content strategy is a very, very important part now of search engine optimization. Probably always has been, but now it's kind of one of the main...
Other avenues have been closed off.
Yes. I mean, there still are some loopholes out there. I said we talked about video marketing earlier. Video is still relatively easy to get rankings for, but all those kind of loopholes and low-hanging fruit, they will all disappear with time. Yes. If it's easy, it'll stop working, okay? That's SEO. So just put out, do timeless stuff, do white hat stuff, put lots of great content out there, and you'll stand the test of time, hopefully.
Alrighty. So the next question we've got relates to just traffic, getting traffic through different sources. So there's ways of getting organic traffic, there's ways of getting traffic just directly from search engines, etc. But there's also paid traffic. And one of the questions we get asked quite frequently comes in a form roughly like, I've spent hundreds of dollars on paid traffic through AdWords and Facebook. It's a search source here, but I can't make that traffic profitable. What would you recommend?
Okay, well, I think there's a few things. The first thing, and I know people probably won't do it, but there's this thing called market research, and we
have a product in that field.
We have a product called Market Samurai, but I think it's really important that before you even create a product or look at building a business around a product, that you do your market research most of the time, when people they can't sell something, it's because they're selling in a bad market, they're not or they don't know how people are selling in that particular market. So do your research, find those keywords which have which show commerciality and traffic and all that kind of stuff, but go beyond that as well. So once you've identified that yes, there are people spending money, don't stop there. Okay, look at how people are making money. Okay, so people are using a particular sales sequence. Like in some markets, you will lose money up front in pay-per-click, but there's a really nice back end, like a recurring income stream, for example. So like beauty products where you might get a new tub of this beauty product every month or something. They're happy to give the first one away for free or lose money in the first one because people are going into a subscription and there's a lot of money to be made in that subscription. So you need to understand how people are selling in that marketplace. So study the ads they're using, the appeals that they're using, just the actual sales process. Are they squeezing people? What's the autoresponder sequence that they're using? What are the benefits that they're using? So study the competition. Once you think you have an idea, okay, then I really think what you should do is you should find an affiliate product that is similar to what other people are selling,
similar to what you'd also like to sell,
and similar to what you'd like to sell, and you should try to sell it. Drive paid traffic. This is not about making money at all. Okay, this is about testing traffic. So test sending traffic to an affiliate product, or and try to create that sales process as much as possible, so you have an actual tangible number about how much it's going to cost to advertise, plus what your actual conversion rate the things are going to be. Now, once you've got that, you can go and crunch the numbers and say, well, hey, look, if I got all the money, I wasn't just getting an affiliate commission, would it be profitable or not? Right? So you should do that kind of testing. Just again, no one really does this at all, unfortunately. But if you're using paid traffic, I think that's really, really important to do.
Okay.
And then and only then, when you can kind of make the numbers work or have enough confidence you can make the numbers work, then you might look at building a product, to service that marketplace. Unfortunately, most people that ask this question have, the ship has sailed on that one. They've already spent a lot of time and money building a product. They already have a product, or they had products before they got online. So the question then is, how do you make that traffic profitable? And I think there's a couple of ways. The two biggest mistakes I see are, number one, not being targeted enough with your traffic.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Most people just throw thousands of keywords. Not that you can do that anymore, but they try just to buy as much traffic as they can, hoping that some of it will stick. If you do that, you're gonna fail.
Well, we had a case maybe a year ago. We did a launch, and we had a huge amount of traffic come through, and we traced it, and something like 90% of it came from a single person who'd paid for clicks, and they earned 0 commissions.
Well, not paid. Nothing wrong with paying for clicks, but they went through a service called AdFlow, which is essentially exit traffic. So But anyway, it was like the worst, most untargeted traffic you could imagine. Literally, they almost crashed our service, and they sent tens of thousands of views and not a single sale. So AdWords or Facebook, it's the same kind of thing. People can just try to get greedy and try to buy more and more traffic. When you want, at least when you're starting, okay? At least when you're starting, when you're trying to get this thing profitable, trying to get it off the ground, you want to buy the most targeted traffic as possible. And if you can't sell that traffic, then you have a problem.
Yes.
Okay, you need to really take a look at your business model. The second, so target traffic is really, really important. And the other mistake that I see people making is they're just trying to sell something too cheap. So just the way that the math works, okay, is
not a high enough profit.
You need to be, you're not going to make money selling a $20 ebook.
Particularly if the click to get you there costs you a couple of dollars in of itself.
So that's the way the math works. So if you have a 1% conversion rate, you're selling a $20 ebook, then the numbers mean that you need, at a 1% conversion rate, you can only afford to pay up to 20 cents per click to break even.
Yes.
So you need to be paying less than 20 cents per click to make money. And obviously, if anyone that's on any PPC knows 20 cents a click, gee, that's cheap.
Yes. Yep.
So you really need to be looking at provide more value in your product so you can charge more money for them, or add a back end component to it. But back ends are really hard to just. I would say make money in your front end. Don't even look at your back end initially, because if you're struggling to sell stuff, you're not going to have enough people go through your back end to work out what the average value per sale or per lead is going to be. So make money on your front end. So I think that they're probably 2 really great tips. And just become awesome at copywriting. Like, do lots of ads, study lots of ads. We've got a copywriting segment, the conversion factor. Get lots of books about copywriting. Become an expert at sales and marketing, and you'll be able to reap the benefits across all aspects of your life, and specifically your business.
One thing you mentioned there, you just touched on at the end, is there are companies out there that are obviously very successful at using their ads. So look at the ads that they use. I mean, they are succeeding, and the combination of words and things that they're using are successful ones. So you can learn a lot from that. Yeah,
and there's the services like spyfoo.com that you can go and you can take a look at. You can type in your competitors and see what keywords they're advertising. You can see what ads they're running. I think SEMrush has a similar kind of functionality that's free. So you can get a lot of the data up front. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. And that's what I said. If you just find something, buy some traffic, and do some testing, but study the competition.
Yep. So next up, if you've done a lot of Google searching, which pretty much everyone has, you'll note that there are certain types of sites that always seem to hit the top couple of positions for a lot of searches. And those sites can be particularly difficult to displace. So the question for this one is, sites like Wikipedia and Amazon are ranking in position 1 for keywords that I'm targeting. How can I compete with them?
Well, I think Wikipedia, for example, I read some studies that say that they show on the front page or number 1 for something like 60 or 70% of all searches.
There's a very good reason for it, though.
Yeah, right. And so it's very, very hard to compete with Wikipedia. They have a massive amount of authority, a massive amount of trust, but they also deserve to be there.
The content is actually good
stuff. The content is fantastic. There's very few sites I'll actually go directly to. There's obviously Google and Wikipedia. I'll often just pull up Wikipedia and search, and a lot of people are like that. Even if they search in Google, I'll type in wiki, or, Wikipedia, and a search term to try and find that. It's just awesome, right? So, and there's less than that, is that whatever page that you're creating to try to rank for something, it needs to be awesome. It needs to be better than Wikipedia.
And that's a very, very hard thing.
And that's a hard thing to do, right? So, just that is an actual principle. So I wouldn't be trying to outrank by Wikipedia. It is possible. I've seen examples of people do that, so it's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult. But I would definitely be saying, if you're going into it with an SEO kind of mindset, that you still, just if you only can come in and rank at position number 3, then you crunch the numbers and make sure it's still worth the effort to go in and rank at number 3. So Amazon is a little easier, because they're a commercial site. So Google will tend to try to rank the actual brand site higher than websites that are selling their brand.
So Apple should rank higher in a search relating to Apple than an Amazon site selling the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. You'll see 7 or 8 on the front page will be Apple sites.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think and I think the other important thing is that the most dangerous number in business, they say, is the number 1. So if you're completely trying to build your business on search engine optimization traffic, then you're doing something wrong. You really need to diversify your traffic source. SEO in the past has been something that you could really get very, very quick rankings. It's still possible in some circumstances, but it really is it's more a long-term game now. It's about content marketing and building up trust and authority over time. And that's always been going that way. So, if you need to be looking at mixing it up, Notable Samurai gets 40% of its traffic from affiliates.
Yeah.
That's great. We do pay for that traffic. We just pay on the sale. We don't pay for the lead. And we buy traffic on in AdWords and Facebook as well. So you need to be looking at multiple streams of traffic to your website, not just targeting SEO.
Cool. Alrighty. Next up, we have one. We kind of covered a little bit of it earlier, but you've spoken a lot about content marketing, and people are always talking about content marketing being the new SEO, and I actually want to know what that means.
Okay, so I think we've kind of covered most of it sort of already, but yeah, essentially is in the past, SEO was really all about doing some on-page optimization and then just building a bunch of backlinks. Now, backlinks definitely still part of the mix. It's really important, but it's not volume of backlinks. It's not even just the authority, the quality of the backlink. It is about user engagement fundamentally. Google measures every single click that goes through to your site. If someone clicks through and then they bounce, they come back straight away, then that's a vote that, hey, this is a really bad website. Similarly, if people don't click your result in the search engines, that's a sign. Now, with practically every site which has Facebook likes and tweets and things, if there is no social activity around a particular site, then that's potentially a negative thing, or certainly it's a positive thing if you can get people engaged with your content, people sharing it. Yeah. Then that's a positive vote of confidence for your content. So that's what content marketing is about: is producing great content that people love, that people want to share, that has real value. And that is actually being factored into the search engine algorithms. Okay. As well as the better the content is, the more people will share, the more people will link to it inherently. So yeah, that's what people should be doing.
I suppose if you've seen anything, like YouTube videos going viral, there is no way that you can compete with that as a form of getting a message out there.
Absolutely.
If something gets out there on social media or a format like that, there's nothing that compares.
Yeah, so there's kind of 2 types of marketing. One is outbound marketing, which is traditional stuff, just traditional advertisers and running ads on people's sites, trying to encourage them to come to your site. But inbound marketing is creating a whole bunch of really, really great content that people want to share that will eventually lead them to come to your site. So it's a subtle change in the way that stuff happens, but it really the seed of that is about content, which means that you need to be looking at your content creation process and how can you be efficient in creating content. What we're doing here with this podcast is doing that. It's doing content marketing. By recording this video, we can chop up each of the different segments We can syndicate that. We can transcribe it. We can create blog posts from that. We can create audio for that, and just capture it once and then reuse it and syndicate it out to where the audience is in the social networks, in the different video syndication sites. So that is, we're doing content marketing ourselves. So again, we're practicing what we preach. But it's about leverage and systems, and video is a very efficient way to capture something, because you can easily then turn it into audio and text. And if anyone's checked out the Profit Hacks product, I think we promoted it a few months ago, then they spell this all out for you. It's a very, very powerful process.
Cool. All right, so we've got time for one last question, and this one is quite close to our hearts. The question is, I'm about to build my new site. Should I use WordPress? What are the advantages? And the reason this is close to our hearts, we've actually just done a major push. We've changed all our sites to use WordPress. It was quite a major change, but it was driven by an internal pain. So talk us through WordPress.
Well, I think the answer is yes. I think anyone who's building a site, for the most part, should be looking at trying to build that site upon WordPress. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. The major reason is that it is really popular. So there is a huge ecosystem built around WordPress. It's easy to find WordPress developers. It's easy to find WordPress plugins to help you do things on your website. As a marketer, there is an entire community of people building marketing plugins for WordPress. If you try to build your website on another platform, then you are missing out on that. You've got
to do a lot of work from scratch where you wouldn't have to.
You have to custom code everything, or wait till a plugin gets popular enough that they might look at another platform, but that rarely happens. And also hosting. There are a lot of people that know how to host WordPress, and so that you can scale and get millions and millions of people to your website. So a lot of the hard problems are solved. So by being part of that ecosystem, you get to leverage all that. The other reason is that it's relatively easy to use in terms of it, and usually you don't have to be super technical if you want to write content. It's easy to do so. Again, by plugging into the ecosystem, there's a lot of apps on mobile devices allow you to publish to WordPress and manage your comments on WordPress, and it's just anything that you can possibly think to be able to do with your website. You can probably find a plugin. Just type in, WordPress plugin and whatever it is that you're trying to find, and something will come up.
9 times out of 10, it'll be a free thing too.
Yeah, and there's free stuff, and probably more importantly, there's also a lot of paid plugins, because a lot of free stuff doesn't get updated, doesn't get supported, and
That's
so
true.
I think it's different if you're just running a personal blog, but if you're running a business and you depend on a plugin kind of working, and every version of WordPress something breaks, you really want to make sure that you get that support. So there's a lot of great free stuff out there. We use a bunch of great free stuff, and some of it's well supported, and a lot of it just languishes and doesn't do anything. That's the blessing and the curse of open source software. So I think it's good to have that mix, and I think WordPress has that healthy mix of both free, both paid, and all the problems are solved. So and it has a fantastic community around it as well. So
absolutely,
if you are stuck, there's these forums, and there's pretty much every city there is a user group. You don't even know it. There's a user group that meets up for free or every single month in your city right now, even if it's a little tiny one, and they get together and talk about WordPress stuff. So even if you're not technical, you can learn from other people that are using it. So that's a long way of saying yes.
And it was that technical aspect that actually made us change all our sites to use WordPress. Previously, whenever we wanted to do an update of a piece of marketing material on the site, it required the marketing team to write it and format it, and they give it to the developers and they push it up onto the site. Then you've got the kind of the testing cycle of, does this look right? No, we want to tweak this here and this there. And you're looking at taking hours out of 2 people's days to make a change of a paragraph or 2.
Yeah, exactly. So putting the power back in the user particularly for the marketing stuff, and just use your web developer for stuff you need to use your web developer for. But updating content 9 times out of 10, you
shouldn't be one of them.
You shouldn't be one of them.
All right, so that's all the questions for Ask a Samurai today. Our samurai is looking quite tired. So I will leave you with Eugene. He'd like to have a few closing words.
Okay.
You can put that slide up better.
Okay, so this is our very first episode. Obviously, there's still a few rough edges around our production, but we really want to do this on a regular basis, maybe weekly or fortnightly. But we really want to get your feedback. So if there's some stuff that you really enjoyed, please let us know. If there's some things that you would like to know, some topics that you'd like us to cover, please send us some feedback. So if you take a look at the slide that I'm about to put up, there's a number of ways to get in contact with us. So there's our Facebook page, our Noble Samurai Facebook page. There's our at Noble Samurai address on Twitter, and email. Email is, generally actually probably the best way of getting through to us. It just goes into our ticket system, and it'll get handled. So if you have any ideas for or problems that you want us to talk about, as well as we talked about earlier, if you have a website you'd like us to review, then please shoot that through with all the excuse me, with all the relevant details. But I hope you've enjoyed episode 1, and we'll let everyone know through probably our social networks, and we might shoot out an email about when our next episode is happening. This is broadcast live, so you can follow along using the Google Hangouts, using the Broadcast Samurai page on our website. We'll be shooting you through links for that, and you can follow along in the chat. And we'll also be taking this, and some of the screen sharing stuff that we did today, it might not be so easy to see through the live stream, but we will be saving the high quality version to our local hard drives and uploading that to YouTube and getting that out for people so they can see that all in high definition video. So that wraps up episode 1 of Way of the Samurai. Please let us know your thoughts.